Oh, hello. It's 1 a.m., so I don't know how well my brain will work, but no worries on that. Hi there. This is a very snory stream. I have all three dogs underneath my desk at the moment. This is me continuing to test my new setup with my brand new work laptop that is way more powerful than my MacBook. And so I decided that it is high time I do another escape book. So, for those who have not done an escape book before, it's basically kind of like an escape room slash choose your own adventure slash solo TTRPG. So I put it in the TTRPG category because that just makes the most sense. So this one is The Adventure of the British Museum. Yes, I know, Dahlia. Would you like to say hello to your adoring fans? Say hello, Dahlia. Very good. Well done. Oh, yes, I know. Already off to an amazing start. You can stay on my lap. That's fine, baby. Unless you get really noisy with your snores. It's funny, she's so tiny and yet so loud. Okay, hon. You have to get off my lap. I'm so sorry. Poor struggly puppy. But in any case, so I am going to start off by explaining how this game works. And if you see me looking up there, it's because that's where my OBS is. It's on my second monitor. But no matter. So first of all, just to start with, this right here is our little decoder. I forget what they call it. Translation device, because unlike in the previous one where we were given kind of like dancing men and stuff, we have hieroglyphic things to change up. So we have inputs and an output. So this is available. I'll do the share of that again. Moobot. So there's the information for it. So the translation device is at that link in the bot's information or in the description if you're watching the YouTube VOD. You are also able to do it. Music can come down. Oh, shoot. Okay, yes, I will do that. Music can go away. I'm not actually listening to it, so I do not know. Thank you for that. The mic is officially as close to my face as I can without eating it. So, this is, as always, with the new system, a learning process because all of my presets are not there anymore. Anyway, that's the mood. So I am going to go ahead and read the description of this to you all. So, just basically... Why is everyone in chat shouting? Is the music too loud? Yes, the music is too loud, Dahlia. Okay, so there are a few pages explaining how the game slash book works and the decoder and all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and read that to you. Beware! You are about to enter an escape book. If you don't know what one of those is, then perhaps we should explain. An escape book is a form of puzzle book in which the unwary reader may become trapped for eternity. It is an escape room in the form of a book. You can decide on your own path, but your route is often controlled by the solutions you give to the puzzles you encounter along the way. You must solve the puzzles to escape the pages. Some puzzles will offer you alternative routes according to your solution. Others will invite you to calculate the next entry you should turn to. When this happens, you should check the from number to ensure that you came from the right location and are still on the right path. If you find that you have arrived from the wrong place, you should turn back and think again. Not all wrong solutions will end the story. As befits an adventure in which you play the role of Sherlock Holmes, this book is far more cunning than that. Some wrong answers may have unforeseen consequences further down the path, causing you to miss a helpful clue or even a red herring, or even land a red herring. While you are trapped inside the escape book, you should pay attention to everything you see. Once the game is afoot, uh, there are all manner of clues hidden on the pages. Use Watson's notebook, which you will discover shortly, to record your observations. Some of these notes might be needed to solve later puzzles. You will also be required to master the translation device. Oop. Located on the cover of the book, of which more later. If you are struggling with your art of deduction, you will find some helpful hints and clues and even the answers located at 221A and 221B, found at the back of the book. There is more than one door through which you can exit the escape book. Some doors are marked with triumph, others with infamy. Only the most observant of detectives will find an escape route that results in newspaper headlines proclaiming their heroic success. Right? Isn't it cute? I love it. So, and then there are little arrows here. These arrows direct you to your next entry. Now all great adventures begin by turning the first page. Watson's notebook, which I did not use in the first one, and I find not terribly helpful because I also don't like writing in books. So I have my own notebook. And, I bumped into the microphone. My fountain pen. Because I feel like that's appropriate, don't you? But yes, so notes and observations, and we're gonna do Morse code this time instead of the periodic table, which I appreciate. So I brought along my Morse code notes. They can be found at the back of the book. Yeah, so Morse code that we will reference. Watson, do you have an extra ink cartridge? I have plenty. I ran out of ink after using my pen for like 3 weeks. So that tells you how much I was writing with it. Because it's a standard ink cartridge. But okay, if you have yet to begin your adventure, turn over the page. Feel free to refer to Watson's notebook at any time. So, explanation of the story. In the upcoming adventure, you will take on the role of the world's most famous consulting detective, Sherlock Holmes, as he becomes trapped within a dastardly plot. You will see everything from his point of view. You will attempt to solve the puzzles with his powers of deduction. You will be him. You might even find a magnifying glass helpful. Oh no, I still don't have a magnifying glass. Oh, geez. So, try to think in the way that Sherlock thinks. As he once said in Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's The Sign of 4, 1890, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, however improbable, must be the truth. You will be accompanied, of course, by your faithful companion, Dr. John H. Watson. He will offer you words of advice, a voice of reason, and a steady hand in times of peril. You should also make good use of his notebook to record observations that may help with your escape. I'm just going to check what you said. With my handwriting, I could save time by just dumping the ink onto the page and removing the pen from the equation. Equally as legible. You are valid. Also, by the way, if you ever feel like it, you can totally use your wikis, which are your things that you get as you follow me. I have an elementary thing. Elementary, my dear Watson. Yes. Good times. And I'm not hearing the alert box that time. Interesting. Oh, fine. I'll sit up straighter. Let me just check one thing because, as always, new thing. Control audio via OBS. Will that do it? Haha. Okay. Now we have the alert box. Do you want to do it again just to test it? I'm going to turn it down a little bit, though. Feel free. Because it does say something. Okay, I didn't hear it, but I think that the monitor is off. So let me know. Yes, the monitor's off. I want to hear things. Okay, I have adjusted it so that I will hear. Ha 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 ha. How was the sound on that? Was it a little too loud? I can adjust that. Let me know. Yeah, and I keep hitting my microphone. My apologies. Okay. A little quiet. Interesting. Okay, I will just max it out and see what happens. we'll find out. Let's see. So, this adventure is set in the British Museum on a wintry spring afternoon and night. Okay, afternoon and night in 1901. Refunding the 20 wikis for testing. I appreciate it. I didn't know that you could do that. So, wintry spring afternoon and night in 1901, a few weeks after the death of Queen Victoria on the 22nd of January that year. The country has its first new monarch in King Edward VII, Roman numerals, King Edward VII, for more than 63 years. Does that mean in more than 63 years? I think they mean in. He has acceded to the throne, but he is yet to be crowned king. And so Great Britain and its vast worldwide empire are in a time of flux. Might groups set on disrupting the status quo see this as an opportune moment to strike at the heart of the establishment with a capital E? Many of the objects described in these pages can still be seen in the British Museum, including the Rosetta Stone, I'm probably going to mispronounce this, the Elgin marbles, and the giant granite head of Egyptian ruler, I mangled that, the third. The map you will be given is based on the genuine floor plan of the museum from this period. Oh, that's neat. Today, some of the museum rooms have been rearranged. The large reading room has been closed, and its thousands of volumes have been moved to the British Library. In others, such as the vast and beautiful Enlightenment Gallery, in this era called the King's Library, you will today be able to revisit the scenes of this tale. The British Museum Underground Station, which features in this adventure, was open to serve museum visitors from 1900 to 1933. Good luck, keep your wits about you, the game is afoot. And then a note about the translation device, and then we're ready to begin our adventure. So they have a lovely image there. Set into the cover of this escape book is a translation device, which is an essential part of your equipment for solving some of the puzzles you will encounter. It features a series of windows behind which are letters, numbers, colors, and a sequence of hieroglyphs and other linguistic marks. These can be used in a number of ways. So, interesting. Okay, I actually didn't even notice the color because it wasn't changing on me. Hang on. I need to get rid of this excess bit. It's making it difficult. Nice. Hey, you're fine. Yeah, so there are 4 bits in here. I switched it to the yellow so that you can see better. Okay, so shine up your magnifying glasses, light your pipes, and prepare for mystery. So the letter can be an input or an output. The hieroglyph / symbol is only an input. The number can be an input or an output, and the color is always an output. So keep that in mind. And you have access to the digital version. So in some puzzles, you'll discover coded messages in the form of strings of random numbers. Okay, so the hieroglyph and symbol, which is this one down here, is only an input. The color, which is up here, is only an output. The letter is either an input or an output. And the number is either an input or an output. Okay, I realized I was away from my microphone saying that, so I hope that was clear. And Rosie is snoring beneath me. Okay. So, perfect. In some puzzles, you'll discover coded messages in the form of strings of random numbers or secret symbols hidden in the story. Using the translation device, input your discoveries in the relevant input dial, then decode them by reading the relevant output dial. You may recognize the celebrated helmet into which the translation device is fitted on the cover of this book. Let's see, as I recall, the book is pretty good at telling us how to set the decoder when it's needed. Yes. And interestingly, this one and the other 2 that I got are by different authors than the first one. The first one, Oswald something, was the author, but the other 3 are written by the same 2 people. So I think that it'll be set up a little bit differently, and hopefully the clues will be a little bit more logical, fitting to the story. let's see, where was I? This is sadly not an artifact that Sherlock and Dr. Watson could have enjoyed viewing at the museum because it was not found until 1939. But one fact about its discovery makes it rather suitable for inclusion in this book. Can you work out why? Look at the other information on the book's cover. Interesting. So on the book's cover is the stolen sculptures from, I think it's from Greece. So the Acropolis or something, if I'm remembering right. So, I mean, it's probably a stolen artifact of some kind. I mean, I feel like that's a given. Correct me if I'm wrong, Deep Squirrel, as the lone Brit here. I have no idea. There is a hints section, so we can look to see how it is related. Nope, that is the regular hints. Oh no, we stole everything. Yes, exactly. Okay, it says to turn to the hints page, but they have already failed because there is, oh no, wait, the cover is at the end of the hints. I don't get the logic there. Okay, I was holding on to the jokes about stolen items in that museum. Yeah, the helmet is Anglo-Saxon. Okay. Okay. So what it says is that the cover design is based on the Sutton Hoo helmet, HOO, discovered in 1939 in East Anglia and excavated by a team led by an archaeologist from Cambridge University. We found his name rather interesting, Sutton Hoo. I don't get the reference. Yes, you stole it from yourselves. Congratulations. I don't see how that relates, but okay. Sutton Hoo, HOO. For reference. Okay. And if you're ready to begin your adventure, turn to 1. We are in the Egyptian Central Saloon. So, a lot of this is text. Let's see, the person who discovered it was Basil John Waite Brown. That is a very British name. Just gonna put that out there. Okay, so we have a lovely little block of text. So, the shadows are lengthening in the British Museum. The rain splatters against the window of the Egyptian Central Saloon. Outside, the wind is howling. And I do not do British voices, just FYI. Weather's taken a turn for the worse, Holmes, says Watson. Nasty. You say. There's hardly anyone about. It's only a few minutes from closing time. We'd better make a move, old man, Watson mutters. Rainstorm or no rainstorm. You repeat. A minute or two passes. You're moving slowly between the exhibits, Watson trailing behind you. You feel you are close to a breakthrough in a case that the world would come to know as the Conk-Singleton forgery. In your hand, you clutch a letter. It has a message in a language that looks a little like the hieroglyphs and the other linguistic marks found on the famous Rosetta Stone. It is this letter that has brought you to the museum and here to the Egyptian Central Saloon. Okay. I was surprised you wanted to come here after what you said yesterday, Watson says. What's that? That you felt absolutely no inclination to help the assistant director despite his many letters. And 3 telegrams, Watson, if you remember. The assistant director of the British Museum, Sir Alasdair Stewart, Alisdair Stewart, Stuart, has been contacting you daily, requesting your presence at an urgent meeting in the museum. You had something of a falling out with him last year and have resisted his requests. Well, we're not here to help him, Watson. We're here because this fascinating letter came in the lunchtime post, and I'm sure these hieroglyphs and their arrangement hold a clue as to where to go next. You show the paper to Watson once again. So we study the note carefully, and I'm going to take a picture and put it into the Discord server. So should anyone wish to see this, you have to go to Discord to start. I will share stuff in the future, but for now, we're going to put this on Discord. Wait, about the Sutton Hoo helmet, they said something about Cambridge, and the name associated with that university was Charles William Phillips. Charles Phillips is the, is the author. Yep. Perfect. Okay, let me pop this in. I will put it in Games and TTRPGs. There we go. Yes, you helped. Hi, Moobot. You don't need to post about that. It's fine. But hey, if you want my modules, they're there. So in Games and TTRPGs, I posted the photo of this. And it says in very scrolling cursive font, so if you can't read it, I'm going to. My dear Mr. Holmes, you must look for a stone in the middle of Egypt, for the king is in danger. You will be trapped. Can you translate your suffering into glory and save the ruler when he goes underground? But be careful. Is there forgery afoot? In freedom, Lady Arabella Conk Singleton. And so we have our lovely little hieroglyphs here. There are 4 lines. There are 3 squiggles in the first one. The bottom one looks like a slug. There's a rectangular box on the bottom of the second one. The third one is blank. And then there are 2 hieroglyphs or symbols on the last one, the top of which is the same kind of squiggle as in the first column. Okay. So we have studied the note carefully, and we are turning to page 91. And I say page 91, I mean just number 91. I say this a lot, so if I say page, I'm leaving it alone at this point. So, the Lady Arabella. Most curious, wouldn't you say, Watson? Yes, indeed. I imagine the king is a reference to the Egyptian pharaoh, and when he goes underground to the afterlife? Look for a stone, it says. And what do we know about Lady Arabella Conk Singleton? That her name is a mouthful? I think that's fair to say. Watson replies, her husband, Sir Crispin, is Mycroft's friend from the Diogenes Club. Unfortunately, as a result, he invited us to their ghastly wedding last year. Ah, yes, the Italian beauty. You took rather a shine to her, Watson. He hurries to change the topic. That was when you had the falling out with Sir Alistair, was it not? And a certain Irene Norton was there. The woman, you mutter, looking down. And Sir Alistair was very rude to Mrs. Norton. What nonsense he was speaking, says Sherlock. And Lady Arabella, something not quite right about her, Holmes? I'm perhaps not an expert on the fair sex, Watson, unlike you. Turn to 37. Aha! We have a math challenge. This is once again going to go in the Discord server. Yeah, so this game is /book is a book, so there is a lot that is just reading of the story and whatnot. But then we get lovely things like this puzzle. So, I keep hitting the microphone. I am so sorry. So I'm just going to show this here so you can see it. So we have to do a math puzzle to figure out what numbers go where. And I'm guessing that we need the one that's in the circled box. So that is what we are going to do here. Okay, so Lady Arabella's... Oh, excellent. Glad to hear that. Lady Arabella's maths challenge. Look, Holmes, Watson says, pointing to the back of the letter. There's something there, too. You turn the letter over to reveal a small square, which is 4 columns by 4 rows and has some numbers inside. Yep. So, where was I? Aha, Watson smiles. It's one of those magic squares. Each row, column, and diagonal must add up to the same number. Each box contains a number from 1 to 16, and each number can only appear once. That box in the bottom row is circled, you muse, tapping it gently with your finger. Maybe that is some clue as to where we should go next. You pull out your pencil and set about solving the magic square. So I'm going to do that not on the book because I have a pen. I'm going to move my microphone back 1 second. What can go wrong? So we have 8, 13, 3, 2, 14, 1, 12. How did you get the number 34 out of curiosity? Yeah, 34. Was it from the diagonal? Yeah, diagonal. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yep, 34. Okay. Well, that makes things easy. I remember doing this in the last book, and it was trickier. I think that they didn't explain it well or something, and we ended up having to just look up what the answer was. But so equals 34. Oh my goodness. That was Dolly, if you could hear that. Let's do some math. 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. So that needs to be a 10 in the bottom left corner. Oh yeah, we don't even need to do the whole thing. We can still do it if we want, but you go to the bottom left and then you go over on the bottom row and then you can solve it. Or you can do it over from the 13 row. Like, there are a number of options that you can take to get to it. So I'll double check that math. Yeah, the circled number is 4. But let's just do the rest just for funsies, because why the heck not? So let's see, that is 25, 26, 27. So we've got a 7 there. And then 15, 11. I like doing the weird puzzles like this. This is probably going to be 16. We've got 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. My brain is not doing this math. So 8, 9, 10. Yeah, that one is the 16. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is the last number. There we go. I did it. Just for fun. But yes, the circled number is indeed 4. So I will go back over to the book.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
4 corresponds with C in blue. Ooh, good to know. And he's over here in the Discord server also doing it just because. Yeah, I'm just gonna check one thing. Yeah, number can be an input. Boop. There we go. Okay, solve the magic square and turn to the circled number. If you're unsure of the answer, turn to 105. So we are going to number 4. A sudden summons. 4, Watson says, tapping the paper. Now where is item 4? He pauses. Holmes, I think it might be the rose. Suddenly there's a commotion. What the devil? Watson exclaims. A young man comes hurtling down the center of the saloon, heading straight towards you. He arrives, panting. Holmes! Mr. Holmes! He stops and bends over, gasping for air. The chap looks like an office clerk and clearly isn't used to exercise. Mr. Holmes, he says, regaining his composure, the assistant director is in need of you in the trustees' room. You look at him quizzically. He asked for you and sent me here, the young man says, in an attempt to answer your unspoken question. How the deuce did he know you were here, old man? Says Watson. Intriguing, you say, but I am busy with an important case in the Egyptology department. Please send my apologies. You turn back to the exhibit in front of you, the Egyptian Book of the Dead. He doesn't leave. Please, sir, he's in urgent need. Do you follow him? What do you think? Should we follow him? Up to you guys. Rosetta Stone probably wonder if it's the same stone mentioned in the letter. Most likely, yes. That would be my guess. So, are we going to follow him, or are we going to continue to look around and be as Holmesy as we can be? Because that will determine what page we go to next. I'm okay with either option. Perfect. I am a-okay with the coin flip. Doop doop. Go with him. Okay. So we are following him. Turn to page 71. Number 71. Whatever. Oop, one more. There's a cool thing there, but that's not the page that I'm going to right now. So, we are going with him. In the trustees' room, Sir Alastair Stewart, and correct me if I'm not saying that correctly, but you know, Sir Alastair Stewart, the assistant director of the British Museum, is lying on his back on the floor. Oh shit. He is panting heavily and appears to be dying. Poison, you wonder? Watson inspects him. You edge closer. You see the recognition in Sir Alastair's eyes when he notices you. A look of excitement seems to pass over his face, but it's just a glimmer. He closes his eyes and sighs deeply. Sir Alastair slowly lifts his hand and places it over his breast pocket. You see some papers sticking out beneath. You surreptitiously take them. Sir Alastair seems to nod his head. A doctor hurries in. Watson and the doctor have an intense discussion of medical matters. You examine the documents more closely. Turn to 110. There we go. Poison man's documents. Okay, we have a ton of choices here. So, while the doctor and Watson are preoccupied, you peruse the assistant director's documents, then pocket them. They are as follows.
Take a minute, enjoy the awesome and the adorbs.
Thank you for the subscription again, Tim. I appreciate it. I was about to say your username. I was like, that's silly. Anyway, thank you. So, we have a whole bunch of documents. We have the map of the museum, 3 newspaper clippings, a blank piece of paper, a translation device, say the front of the book, and if you finish looking at the documents, you do a thing. No worries. You have fun with Fernie. Are you guys doing a photo shoot? Trying to remember. Or are you just hanging out? It's almost the longest day of the year, so it's not like it's going to be dark soon, but it's kind of crummy out. Oh, hi, Dahlia. But, okay. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. She's picking up her jester stuff. Ah, okay, gotcha. Have fun. Oh, you got hiccups? Dahlia. That was an intense round of hiccups there. Okay, so Nani, if you could, please roll a d6 for me. We will ignore the 6 because that is the translation device. Let's see what we look at first. So we're doing a new one. 4. We are looking at newspaper clipping number 3. Yeah, it's been raining on and off here too, which is not surprising. We're close to each other. Okay, so we're turning to 93. A newspaper clipping. I will once again take a picture of this and post it in the Discord server. Okay, Society wedding marred by rumpus. Angry exchange at marriage of Sir Crispin Conk Singleton and new Italian bride, Master Detective Sherlock Holmes involved. 7th of June, 1900. And this is set in 1901, yes? Yes. Rumpus and ruin. My favorite lens is on Klein & Sagan. Please cross your fingers that it'll still be there next month. Fingers crossed. Ich drücke die Daumen. I'm sure that my Pixel chat was very confused. Well, I don't get to see it. It's fine. Okay, let's see. 7th of June, 1900. The society wedding of 1900 was disrupted by angry exchanges involving the great Sherlock Holmes, master detective of Baker Street. Let's see. And Sir Alasdair Stewart, Assistant Director of the British Museum. In a lavish ceremony at Westminster Abbey, Sir Crispin Conk Singleton married his exquisite but little-known Italian bride, now Lady Arabella Conk Singleton. Afterwards, a dispute broke out during the reception at Sir Crispin's most beautiful St. James's Square mansion. Mr. Holmes's Amenoyas? I've never seen that word before. John Watson and onlookers, including Mr. and Mrs. Godfrey Norton, were seen restraining Sir Alasdair while Mr. Holmes laughed long and loud. Okay. Intriguing that he kept this clipping. Okay. Do you want to roll the d6 again? We have 4 more things to look at. Ooh, so we're looking at the next newspaper clipping, which is at 29. Archaeologist missing at sea. Interesting. There you go. Disappearance of Bella Rabia. Missing Italian archaeologist, brilliant but controversial. Bella Rabia lost at sea. Arabella. Storm in Aegean, 3 ships lost. 31st October, 1899. I'm intrigued by this. Italian archaeologist Bella Rabia, notorious for her support of anarchist causes and her connection to the late criminal mastermind Professor Moriarty, has disappeared while returning from a visit to the new archaeological digs at Knossos on the island of Crete. Signora Rabia, perhaps the world's only working female archaeologist and one of the most brilliant women of her generation, is known for her outspoken attacks on the very institution of kingship. She was a little-known associate of Professor Moriarty, who died at the Reichenbach Falls, Switzerland, in 1893. This year, she had been working on the excavation of Villa Bosco... I can't see that, hang on. Bosco Reale, near Pompeii, but took a break to visit feted British archaeologist Sir Arthur Evans at his new dig on the island of Crete. Tragedy apparently struck in the form of a major storm on the wine-dark sea of the Aegean. Bella Rabia disappeared, and then 6 months later, someone named Arabella got married to the British Museum assistant director. Seems sus. Okay. Shall we go to the final newspaper clipping? I think that sounds excellent. It's another thing about the rumpus at Society Wedding. Hello again. Ooh, this reminds me, Anya, I need to pick your brain about D&D Candle Obscure mashup I have had. Absolutely, I'm here for it. A new dig on the island of Crete. It's just a huge sign on the mainland saying Crete sucks. What a dig. Yeah, so, Dark Llama, just so you know, I am taking pictures of this and posting, like, all of the little, notes and things, and I'm posting them in my Discord server. So if you're not in it, you should join. Wine Dark Sea, remember that line. Is it from the Ennead? I do not know. Let's see. Also, I once submitted 10 puns to a joke competition. I really thought with that many, one was sure to be a winner, but sadly, no pun intended. I approve. I was waiting for the pun, and I love it. Okay. Society wedding of 1900. Sir Crispin Conk Singleton to wed mysterious Italian bride. Ceremony in Westminster Abbey on 28th September. Reception afterwards in St. James's Square Mansion. 6 May 1900. Sir Crispin Conk Singleton is to wed a mysterious Italian beauty known only as the Lady Arabella. Little is known of the bride, who was first seen in the society pages covering this summer's events, though she has been seen frequently at the British Museum examining their archaeological artifacts. Sir Crispin, heir to a vast fortune and several large estates, has recently shocked society by what? I think that there's a typo in here. By founding a lockmaking firm, which recently released the Singleton security system. Okay, Homer, not Virgil. No big deal. You knew more than me. So, ignoring the typo, Bella, missing archaeologist, hates kings, and all that jazz, archaeologist, disappears. Arabella appears in society in Britain and starts courting this Sir Crispin Conk Singleton. Also, Singleton security system, which means that she probably was courting him to learn about this lockmaking thing, whatever it may be. Okay, so that's information that we've got. I'm going to write some of this down because I will forget. Let's see, it is the Singleton security system. I know that I wrote down security, but it sure as hell does not look like that. Whoops. Okay, so back to 110 now. So we've got the map of the museum, which I'll just go ahead and flip to, and I will have this scanned for next time because it is a lot. Other direction. I'm avoiding my microphone. That will be useful information to hang on to. So where are we? Oh, there are some numbers and things on these as well, so that's something important to keep in mind. Excellent. Now we can plan a heist. In 1901, yes, we can plan a heist. Okay, if there's anything of note on this map, write it down, Watson. Fine, I'll write it down. Okay, so the first vase room has the number 80 on it. Let's see. The bronze room says 77. The medieval room is 10. I mean, there may be other things of note, but I do not know them. Okay, so that's the first floor. There's a lot more on the second floor. Let's see. Time crimes are FlexCorp specialty. Yes, facts. So, first floor. And this is in the EU sense, not the US sense, because now we have the ground floor. So the Central Northern Library is 73. The catalog room is 24. No. The library... Okay, the middle of the King's Library, near the Hebrew Library, is 39. And then the bottom of the King's Library is a little swirly mark. So I'm gonna do swirly 32. Okay, manuscript room is 61. Oop, I wrote 7. 61. The Grenville Library is 0. Let's see. Okay, so at the wedding, the guy who is now dying of maybe poison got into a dispute, possibly with Sherlock, and had to be held back by Watson. Yes. Oh, and I mixed a thing up. So Arabella did not marry the guy in charge of the museum. She married the guy who did the lock making thing, and has a vast fortune. So for a scientist, like an archaeologist, kind of a big deal. Let's see. I've just realized that I made that mistake. The director's office is 6. The trustee's room is 71. And that's where we are right now. I'm assuming that it is the page number. Yep. Okay. The archaic room is 18. They really gave us a lot in here. Yeah, she married Crispin and she sent us the note we got first, unless there's forgery afoot. Exactly. The Ephesus room is 5. Egyptian Central Saloon has an asterisk and 35. The Nereid room has a 36. And I'm sure I mispronounced that. Elgin room has an 11. There are seriously a lot of them here. Like, I've run out of room on this page. And also a 67, but it's like a line up. Like, see? There's a line coming from that room. So I'm gonna just do a line to a 67. Okay, last one, I think, is the Figalian room with a PH. And that is the number 33. Okay, we're done writing down numbers. They told us to write down the numbers, so I did it. But that is a lot. There we go. That's a lot. But we got it. We're there. So now we're going back. Oh! Pausing because right there it says what the two things are. The swirl is the curator's office, and the asterisk is the Rosetta Stone. There we go. I was assuming that we were going to have to decode it. It makes me kind of sad that it was just a key. But anyway, back to 110, because we have a blank note to look at. I know, right? Blank piece of paper. Oh, the blank piece of paper is just a blank piece of paper. There's no page to go to. So, we have finished looking at all of the documents. Now we turn to page 115, and we can reference these documents at any time. So I will definitely take a better photo of that map, and I will pop it into the Discord and maybe set it up somewhere. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. The overlay doesn't really suit for that long of a thing with that much detail. But in any case, 115. Ah! The back of the map. Hold, please. We have a decoding. Let me just... You're done. Okay, so in the Discord server now, there is a thing to decode. So time to use that decoder. So we need to do, and I'm just gonna look at this image myself. That makes my life easier. Okay, I was thinking I knew what it was, and then I was like, no, I do not. Well, maybe I do know the first one. Did I see that one? No, there it is. Let's see. I like some of the truly random little symbols that they have going on here. No, aha. Ah, I was close if that's the case. Okay, H. Yep. I was figuring that the first one was hello. There we go. L's, yep. Yeah, it's definitely hello, Holmes. Yep, there it is. Oh, we are correct. It says hello, Holmes. Okay. I love that we totally just did that decoding before I read the text, but no matter. So, just as you were folding up the map, you noticed a short message scrawled in a messy hand. I mean, it doesn't look terribly messy to me. It appears to be written in that confounded code again. You peer a little closer at the translation device and realize that, in fact, it makes use of these symbols. If you put the hieroglyph or symbol into the input box, you get a letter, a number, and a color in return. You set about translating the message. So if the last letter is S, turn to 51. If the last letter is Z, turn to 59. I'm curious what the Z symbol looks like. Hang on, I'm going to find it because I want to know. Can you really mistake it? The Z is a beetle. How would you make that mistake? Okay. Well, we're turning to number 51. Hello, Holmes. You hear a scraping sound and look up. The doctor and two attendants, oh, a second one, okay, have lifted the assistant director onto a stretcher and are starting to leave. I can mistake anything if I try hard enough, bet. Let's see. Something falls out of the assistant director's hand, landing gently on the floor. You see Watson bend quickly to pocket it. Come along, Mr. Holmes, Dr. Watson, the doctor says. The museum is now closed. Staff are hurrying you out the door. Outside, twilight is settling over London, but is still just light enough to see. You all hurry across the forecourt in front of the museum. The two attendants carry the assistant director out through the main gates, with the doctor scurrying behind them. You're frustrated that you didn't make more progress with the hieroglyphs and Greek letters and the fascinating Conk Singleton case. Come along, please, one of the assistants shouts impatiently. Do you follow or do you try to go back into the museum? So we can either follow the attendant or we can try to go back into the museum. And in thinking about that, I want to look at what this says. That original letter. So we know that that's an S. And that is... Hang on. Where was it? I'll just look at it on my phone. What's the re-entry policy on our museum ticket? I'm sure that it's not good after closing. Okay, so we have an O and we have an S. So blank S blank, next line is an O, then a blank line, and then two unknowns. I just want to decode this really quick. Because I want to know what it says. Oh wait, there's the slug. The slug is an F. So, okay, so it might not be words in that case. It might be colors or it might be numbers. Okay. I is a G. And then what is that one? There it is, R. It has some of the letters for forgery. No idea. RSFO blank RG. I have no idea, but it might be numbers, it might be the colors, but I doubt that. But just so that we have that, I wanted to look at it. I think that we're going to try to turn back to the museum because that seems the most Sherlock thing to do. He's not someone who just follows. Okay. A word from Watson. You pull Watson into the shadows of the forecourt. The doctor shouts back from the gateway. For goodness sake, Mr. Holmes, you're causing us additional trouble here. Some time we don't have. We have to make haste for the hospital. Goodbye and good luck. You look up into the night sky, pondering. You note the doctor's slightly unusual use of the word additional. Okay, you're causing us additional trouble here. Interesting. You glance over towards the front of the museum. Is that the attendant lurking near the door? But you look away because Watson is now at your elbow, pointing. Look, Holmes, he sounds excited. You can see Venus in the sky tonight, named after the Roman goddess of love and beauty. She is rather beautiful, isn't she? You barely hear him. Your mind is back in the museum, turning the case over and over. Turn to 9. Oh, goodness. No, that's not. There's a massive letter, but that's not number 9. That's for later. Okay. And this is where a magnifying glass is useful. Because we've got this situation, which I cannot look at closely because it's too pigmented. It's a struggle, but we'll try. Okay. You look back at the museum frontage. I say, Mr. Watson murmurs, look at that. Someone's been up to some strange tricks. Why would anyone have done that? You look around for the attendant, but he seems to have melted into the shadows. Curious fellow. What a ridiculous appearance, Watson says, rather too loudly. Is Watson scared, you wonder? A disguise, definitely, you say. But what is he trying to hide? He could have done better than that atrocious Scottish... Well, you didn't tell me that he had a Scottish accent. Now I find out, not that I would have attempted it, but, you know, I would have acknowledged that he had a Scottish accent, but okay. Another thing, Holmes. Isn't the museum supposed to be closed for the afternoon? Why is there a light flashing in the window there? Perhaps things are not so quiet within as we thought, is what Sherlock says. There's something familiar about that pattern, Holmes, Watson muses aloud. I feel like I've seen it somewhere today. You look around, I'll find out where that pattern is in this image. You look at the Conk Singleton letter and the papers you gathered from the doctor. Do you see a connection with the pattern on the front of the museum? Or do you see it on the map? Well, let's turn on a flashlight to see this. They have way too much fun with hiding details. I do not see anything. Oh, I see what it is. There are 4 columns on the building. And notice the pattern. I can do this. Notice the pattern on them. 3102. There are indeed 4 columns in front of the building, and they match whatever was done to them with our little hieroglyphs situation. I didn't need a flashlight for that. I just didn't notice that at first. But yes, good deduction there. And I am going to
Elementary, my dear Watson.
Ah, yeah. He is very quiet. I could hear it that time. Okay, there is a connection with the letter, so turn to 79. So we've got the Steelio again. Okay. Lady Arabella's letter. You see a connection with the letter. I propose, you say, that the pattern on the front of the museum deliberately echoes the arrangement of the hieroglyphs and letters in the message. Ah, 3 column in column 1, 1 in column 2, and so on. There's intelligence at work, you say. We have to go back in. You stride off across the courtyard. A tingle spreads through your fingertips. This is just getting interesting. You hear Watson puffing and panting behind you. Do you know, I'm inclined to agree with you, he calls. Turn to 62. But where to? Watson calls from behind you. I find it very interesting. A lot of these choose your own adventures are literally just splitting up the text just to split it up. Like, it's just a linear continuation in some cases. I will note that the from section says from 55 and 79, and we came from 79. Okay. But where to? Watson calls from behind you. You stop. In your excitement, you hadn't quite worked out where you were headed next. The illusion of choice, exactly. Watson catches up with you. Perhaps as well as matching the arrangement of the letters and hieroglyphs, this pattern is a message, you theorize, a number code. So we're trying to find a connection between the number code and the room numbers on the floor plan. Okay, Watson, thank you. No, Watson hazards. Closely reasoned. You scintillate, Watson. Okay, you exclaim, pulling the map out of your pocket again. I say, look at your feet, Holmes, says Watson. There are 2 small vertical crosses chalked into the ground. I just thought that was art, but okay. See? There are indeed 2 tiny crosses. Okay, I'm gonna go backward. Oh no, I didn't have to go backward. I already had, like, bungled up the page, but sure. Okay, turn to 20. Like, a choose your own adventure book / escape book is the most railroady of games that you could play. Let's be real. Because it's all here. Like, there's nothing outside of this book. Okay, this one does have options, so we're getting somewhere. So, coded choices. Next, you look at the pattern of the ties on the columns. Okay, so they're ties, they're not, like, I assumed that someone had, like, carved into them or something, but that would be trickier to do in broad daylight, so, okay. A little bit more obvious. Okay, let's see. Could it be a number sequence, Holmes, do you think? You look at him witheringly. Yes, of course it could, dear chap. And what would be the next number in the sequence? He scratches his head and groans. You look up to admire the stars and twinkling Venus, while the old boy's brain grinds through its gears. Finally, he shrugs despairingly. Yes, you say, there is no sequence. But could it be a simple sum? Would you add them up or subtract them, do you think? Those are not the only options, Watson, you say, giving him a long-suffering look. Division, I grant you, does not work because the sum would break down at divide by 0, but multiplication is as feasible as subtraction or addition. I would say you get a more sensible answer if you add the figures up, Watson continues, ignoring you, and these chalked marks by your feet could be addition signs. Then again, should we use the translation device, you wonder? There must be a way of entering this information into the device. Hint, hint, dear reader. You both walk swiftly across the forecourt to the front of the museum. The giant doors are slightly ajar. Inside, it seems deserted. Where to? So the options are, you don't think there's a pattern, turn to page 89. If you think you should use the translation device, turn to 3. And if you think it's an addition, multiplication, or subtraction sum, work out the answer, turn to the number you discover. So, looking at it, I'm just going to go to the front page. Actually, Yeah, so the artwork where it's just like, hey, guess what this is? You cannot see the markings on it. That's what I was curious about. You're just not in that position, and they do not really give you a good idea of where those markings are. Yeah, there's no position in space where those numbers could be. So, in relation to those plus signs, so given that, plus plus, I'm intrigued by the plus plus because there's 0. Because if it's just addition, then it's 6. But that seems a little bit too simple to me. So what do you all think? I'm assuming that there is a pattern. It could be a number, or it could use the translation device. What do you think? There are wrong answers here, but you never know. It might still work out for us. Oh, tell me more. Dahlia just sighed. I'm going to attempt it with the translation device and see if that works out, and then we can always backtrack if it's wrong. Because doing the addition, I would assume, would make it a 6. I don't think that's the answer. But who knows? Okay, so the translation device. Well, how can you use this pattern with a translation device? Watson seems almost belligerent, as he often does when baffled. The pattern seems to match the layout of the symbols and the hieroglyphs in the letter, agreed? Yes. My idea is to transcribe the hieroglyphs and letters into numbers. Watson seems to be warming to the task. I wonder about these addition signs. Add twice? Using your translation device, convert the symbols and hieroglyphs from Lady Arabella's letter into numbers. Add up the numbers, and then add the digits together. Hold, please. So convert them into numbers, add up the numbers, and then add the digits together. So doubling it. Is my brain not braining right now? Because it seems to not be braining at the moment. Okay. Hold, please. I'm gonna look at this again. Ooh. So that's the correct one. That's an 8. That's a 7. No. Is it really? Okay, hang on. I'm just gonna go through and do all possibilities because I'm not Holmes. I have all the time in the world. That's a 12. Oh, I got you. Ten. And the little Y symbol.
Elementary, my dear Watson.
It is indeed elementary, dear Watson. Where's my little Y? There it is. 6. Absolutely the illusion of choice. That is ridiculous. I'm just doing it as well to say that I have done it. You are indeed correct. It is 6 no matter what. Wow, that is ridiculous, but okay. So that just means that we wasted a little extra time instead of being like, let's add them all together. Hi. Hi, Dahlia. Dahlia is pawing at my arm. Okay. Yes, exactly. We took the long way around, which in this case should be fine. Sometimes taking the long way of doing things or delaying one step, one page, does actually have consequences. Hold, please. I'm going to put Dahlia in my lap once more and see if she accepts this. Hello, my baby. Oh, hello. Hello, hello. You can tuck in right here and be nice and cozy. I like that my Pixel chat decided that I said Paul instead of Paws. Okay, I'm getting a lick attack right now. Okay, so we are now outside the director's office. So you make your way to room 6 on the map, the director's office. Just outside the office, you see something moving out of the corner of your eye. You turn and think you might have seen a chap with a broom moving back into the darkness. You blink and nothing. In front of you is a beautiful statue of Venus. It seems to have been moved from its correct position. I say, Holmes, is there something significant about this? Watson asks. He is pointing at the item code, which has been circled in pencil with the letters Ian written below. IAN. So you make a note of the code in the notebook in the hope that it might be useful later. So I will... Oop, my flashlight on my phone is still on. I just noticed that. Let's turn that off. So we've got VEN 7.DRT. So that is circled and Ian is written below it. I will type that into the chat this time, since that's an easy thing to share. And then Ian. There we go. So, as you straighten up, you hear a rattling of keys by the main museum entrance. You hear someone swinging the great door shut with a bang, and the sound of them locking it and rattling the keys with relish. What was that? Watson asks. We're locked in, you say. Locked in, Holmes, Watson squawks. Oh, Lord, this is a disaster. What is that wretched fellow playing at? Come on, you soothe. No need for panic. What's become of your military backbone? There's only one way out of here, and that's to play the game. Turn to 26. I don't need the rumpus. 26, there we go. Inside the director's office. Once inside the director's office, you look around. You're not quite sure what you're looking for. You go, by the way, I keep looking down and seeing my all caps Ian, and I'm just like, who's yelling at someone named Ian? But it's just me typing. You're not quite sure what you're looking for. You go to pull the map out of your pocket, and the blank piece of paper from the assistant director's jacket falls to the floor. No man carries a blank sheet of paper around with him, wouldn't you say, Watson? You notice a candle burning on the other end of the room. How odd, Watson says. I would have thought they would blow out the candles when closing up. You hold the blank piece of paper to the flame, turn to 16. You sit down to smoke a pipe, turn to 104. Pretty sure that at this point Holmes would not have given up. He's too inquisitive. He wouldn't just sit down to smoke a pipe. He'd be like, this piece of paper? I'm gonna go see what's up. Also, I'm just really quickly, because why not? What was that? I want to see what the 104 was. I'm assuming that it's just wasting time. Okay, yeah. I'm just gonna read it because it isn't detrimental to us, and I might as well. You sit down to smoke a pipe. Watson is walking up and down the cramped office, brandishing the piece of paper. For goodness sake, calm down. How can you be so infuriatingly calm? I don't know, Watson complains. Dilly-dallying while mystery is afoot. I know, right? Holmes says, let me take a closer look at the paper. He approaches and holds it out to you. Just as he's holding it out, you strike your match. Aha, you say. I thought as much. And now we turn to 16. And I'm going to take a picture of this letter. I like the intro to the letter already. Hang on. Then maybe having something to do with Venus, yeah. There's that. I have been tagged somewhere on Discord. Where's that? Oh, okay. Nothing important. Okay. So, Bonaparte. Held up against a source of light, the note displays a hidden message. You say. A silly bird? Gather our papers? What's this, Holmes? Watson asks, pointing. There are some letters in bold type in the document. Ah, yes, there are. I'll wager the bold letters will give us some clue as to what to do next, you opine confidently. You set about reading the code. Well, first I'm going to read the letter. My esteemed genius, Mr. Holmes, and his foolish friend. Buonasera. If you are reading this, I know you have tumbled headlong into my trap. You are my prisoners for the night. Genius, did I say? I caught you pretty easily, like a silly wee bird. In any case, what kind of genius would be stuck for so long over the Conk Singleton papers I laid in your path? Would you say you were an anarchist, Mr. Holmes? A hater of authority? A violent man? By the time this night has ended, I predict you will be seen in that light by the powers that be. Even by your brother. You will be shamed. You sent my brilliant friend, my inspiration, to his death. That struggle was in a high place, but this one will end in profundità. I am preparing for you the lingering death of imprisonment. Gather your papers, sir, and play the game. By the Greek rocks, count the cards and repeat your bet. Prepare to go down even into underground realms. I wish you buona fortuna. You have until morning. By then you will either be free or tangled even more deliciously in the trap I have laid for you. 4 blanks. Bonaparte. Intriguing. So, let's find out the bold letters. We have an L. O. L-O-E-K. The O and no, I know you have tumbled is also. L-O-E-K. O-N-T-H-D-E-S-K. Yeah. So there are misspellings, but it says look on the desk. L-O-E-K-O-N-T-H-D-E-S-K. Unless, no, I don't see how fireplace would be it. Yeah, I'll write out the letters. So those are all of the letters that are bolded in it. So I'm going to say that we need to go to the desk. Based off that information. I am very curious. Misspellings seem odd here, so I'm thinking that something else is going on there. So turning to page to number 27. An invitation. Ah, sorry, that was a fly that just flew into my face. Watson points at the invitation lying on the director's desk. M. Napoleon, it says here, Holmes, and the blighter who wrote the hidden message signed himself as Bonaparte. Didn't you call your Professor Moriarty the Napoleon of crime? Absolutely, Watson. But as you know, Moriarty is dead. He fell to his death from the Reichenbach Falls. But this fellow speaks of sending my brilliant friend, my inspiration, to his death. Not uninteresting, you think? And I am going to take another photo because we've got some more stuff here. Come on. Let's see. I'm just gonna cut out the excess. There we go. Na 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 na. Okay. M. Napoleon requests the pleasure of the company of Sir Edward Mount, Maunde Thompson, museum director and assistant director Sir Alasdair Stewart, in a stranger's room at the Diogenes Club. I will note that there are a number of letters in that have been underlined, and it is white font, so it is not by mistake. So I'm just going to write down what those are. And then there's 28.5/2118.4 on there. So let's see. We've got a P, L, A, C, E, place. It says place in the underlined letters. Place. I'm concerned and curious. Oh, and I'll write down those numbers. 20-8-5/2118.4. We'll find out. I wonder if we need to put that into the decoder. It'll tell us if we do. My hair keeps tickling my nose, and it's so annoying. Eh, don't make me sneeze. Okay, going to 2. Intriguing. The attendant's identity. Oh no. Let's see. Holmes, the Diogenes Club is Mycroft's club, I believe, and the letter mentions your brother. Could he be involved in whatever scheme we are embroiled in? Ignore this feather. I'm not doing anything. So you say. Ugh, my nose is itchy. Well, you know what? I have feathers too. Feather attack. Okay. Thinking of Moriarty, I've just realized who that wretched attendant reminded me of. Who? Sebastian Moran, that's who. Moriarty's right-hand man. The person you yourself described as the second most dangerous man in London. Yes, I saw that straight away. But how, Holmes? My name is Sherlock Holmes, you say. It is my business to know what other people don't. Watson makes a note of the phrase. Sometimes he's a trifle too keen. Well, if it's Moran, he must have an ally, Watson continues. His is not the kind of mind to dream up a plot like this. Observe the bottom of the invitation, Watson, you say, narrowing your eyes. There's some scribbled numbers. Oh, and of course, the friggin' paper is easier to read on this page. Watson takes a note. My boss is an asshole at times. I mean, that's just a fact of life. I'm just gonna double check that. Yeah, it just says place with those underlines. Okay. There's more. What could it mean, do you think, Holmes? A number to letter code clearly. They have provided the last letter. They did? Diogenes. Okay, that's where the D comes from. I was correct that it needed to be the translation device. Well, we can't use... Oh, never mind. Well, we can't use the translation device here because the letter D does not correspond with the number 4 on that, Watson says. But look, there seem to be some letters underlined in the invitation. You work out what it spells. Placed. Place. I don't know. So we have, it spells the bard, it spells the dead, or it spells to fled. I am confused because the letters that are underlined are place. Place. Which is not quite right. Yeah, so we have 20. Let me find 20. My thought is, what if it's 4 spots away? Yeah, C is the first one. C. But if you do that, then there's no top or bottom. Let me see if the 4 spots away is a thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. Not that direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. Okay. Cute idea, but it was wrong. What does the D correspond with? The D corresponds with 11. How far away from 4 is that? Too far away on that side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's like the exact opposite side. Not quite, but you know. I wonder. Wait, sorry. So the D doesn't equal 4 because the number 4 is the last number at the end of that number sequence. So my first thought was rearranging the letters that came from it, but there's no D in it, and there's no, like, it's all nonsense there. So if 4 is T... I'm going to put the pen away for a second. Place. Yeah, I just don't get it because the letters spell place. Place what? I'm going to look at a hint. I think that it's time. So, it's a hint on the number 2. The underlined letters in the Diogenes Club invitation spell the word place. Think about the place each letter has in the alphabet and what number would be assigned to that place. Could this be a way to decode the message? D is the 4th letter in the alphabet. Okay. So 20 let's work backwards because we have 1 and 2. So we have an A and a B, which means that it would be the bard. We don't need to go any further, but yeah. There we go. It's the bard. Place. That's too vague of a clue, I think. It's still fine, but place. I was thinking of like maybe that was a clue towards something else later, and that's why I was writing it down. Um, was there a room to talk about Shakespeare? The bard. Oh, maybe. Let me find our lovely map. We've got Egyptian rooms, vase rooms, so many vase rooms, terracotta medieval room, manuscript room, print students room, ceramics, print drawings exhibition, ethnographical rooms, Lygian mausoleum, Nineveh gallery, Nimrod central saloon, Egyptian central saloon, catalog room. I don't think so. Unless it's the reading room. Which you never know. Yeah, there's nothing. There's the King's Library, yeah. But the bard being Shakespeare would make sense. In any case, we're turning to number 113. I love how your brain immediately went to that, Nani, because mine did too, but the text just confirms stuff. So the clue reads, the bard. The bard? Shakespeare, one must assume, you say. These are really rather simple clues, Watson says dismissively. He's a little obvious. Or she, Watson. You're wondering about Lady Conk Singleton and whether she might be connected to the plot. Watson ignores you, not for the first time. But you're right, very obvious. You wish there was a way to know whether Moran or M. Napoleon or Bonaparte or Lady Conk Singleton or whoever it is could hear your assessment of their puzzles. We're coming at it all wrong. We should be looking for a meat man room. Right. Do you spice? Your eyes scan the room and land on the bookcase. The collected works of Shakespeare is sticking out slightly. You walk over and lift the book off the shelf. It opens in your hand. It's not a book at all, but some sort of secret storage. Inside, you find 2 things. A blank map of the museum layout and a ticket for the reading room. So it's 106 and 107, so I'm just gonna do one and then the next. Okay, so we've got our blank room, our blank map, which is indeed, if I can get this, it's just the blank map. And then going to 107, reading room ticket. That's not disturbing at all. Okay. Hang on. It's a non-transferable ticket. This ticket admits Mr. Sherlock Holmes, Esquire, reason, research into the Conk Singleton case, to the reading room of the British Museum, authorized by Sir Edward Maund Thompson, GCBFBA. Sir Edward Maund Thompson. And then there's interesting A and B boxes. I'm curious what they mean. So now we turn to 48. A ticket to read instead of a ticket to ride. What do you make of all this? Watson murmurs. You are silent. You pick up the reading room ticket. Remarkable, you breathe. What's that? Well, you'll know, Watson, that you have to apply in writing to the principal librarian for access to the reading room, and you receive a personalized card. Yes, old chap. Well, this ticket is made out in my name. Someone has applied in my name. It reads Mr. Sherlock Holmes for researches into the Conk Singleton case. They seem to have everything about you jotted down, old chum, Watson says. And look here, there's some curious symbols scribbled. More and more extraordinary. Turn to 86. Okay, I'm gonna say this is our last page for today because I've actually been going quite a while. I just looked at the time. I will read this one and stop for the night. So, we have another code to crack. The clock on the wall ticks loudly. You look up. 6:30 p.m. I guess we won't make it to the opera tonight then, old chum, you say. Orpheus and Eurydice this evening, Watson says. Such a sad story, Holmes. Orpheus, who follows his bride Eurydice to the underworld, is in an attempt to rescue her and convinces Death to let him, but... We'd better get going. To the reading room, it appears. Yes, but hold on a minute, Watson says. Look at this. On the door frame are some scratched-in hieroglyphs and symbols. Translation device time. Well, I'll go ahead and have the little boxes in the image as well. There we go. Okay. So. And we don't know if it's letters or numbers. Just a reminder of that. I'm assuming that it is letters, but you never know. Is that any of the symbols? No. Already did that one. Oh, this is a new one. Burp. No. No beetles, no alpha symbol. Nope. But that guy's there. Yep. I'm assuming that it's not numbers, but yeah. I mixed up the spot of one of them, but it's fine. Upside down, upside down. And then what's the last one? That squiggle. There it is. Ah, I figured it out. So just to read the whole thing to you, so you have these hieroglyphs. You take out the translation device and decode the message into letters. You aren't quite sure what it means at first, but then you remember that with so many of the best cases, you must begin at the end and return to the start. You step out of the room and hear some noise over to your left. What do we do? Do we follow the noise or do we head to the reading room? Just to show the lovely code here that can be entered into that decoder. And it, spelled backwards, says follow the noise. And so follow the noise we shall. I'm going to go ahead and bookmark page 8, number 18, and then we will continue this tomorrow because I am having so much fun and I want to keep doing this and I want to get through this whole game. So tomorrow, same bat time, same bat place, I will continue this adventure of the British Museum. So thank you all for playing this with me and for joining. If only your friend Violet Noise was alive right now. Follow the noise! That would be very appropriate. Yes, it is sleepy time for you. So bye.